My name is Madison Parker, and I'm 35 years old. 5 years ago, I stood in my parents' living room with hospital photos, broken ribs from the husband they needed to keep their business afloat. Marriage requires sacrifice, my mother said, not even looking at the evidence. His family funds our company, my father added coldly. Divorce him and you're disowned. They meant every word. I left that night with nothing but the clothes on my back, erased from their perfect family portrait. Tonight, at my sister's 30th birthday gala in front of Seattle's elite, my mother stood on stage bragging about their unbreakable family values to 200 guests who didn't know I existed. She spoke of loyalty, commitment, and never abandoning family, while the daughter she threw away sat in the audience. Then the MC turned to me with the microphone. As our evening's sponsor, would you like to comment on those beautiful family values? The room went silent. My parents' faces drained of color. They were about to learn what their disowned daughter had become. Before we begin, please take a moment to like and subscribe, but only if stories about choosing yourself resonate with you. I'm curious, where are you watching from? Drop your city and local time below. Let me take you back to that night everything changed. The invitation arrived on a Tuesday morning, slipped under my apartment door in a cream envelope with no return address. My hands trembled as I recognized Rachel's handwriting, the same elegant loops she'd perfected at our mother's insistence. You are invited to celebrate Rachel Parker's 30th birthday, the Grand Belmont Hotel, black tie required. No mention of my name, just guest, written where a name should be. 5 years. 5 years since the day my mother stood in the doorway of my childhood home, her voice cold as winter. We only have one daughter from now on. Don't ever come back. 5 years since my father turned his back while I packed my things, bruises still healing under my sweater. They'd chosen their reputation over their daughter's safety, chosen their country club status over the truth about the man they'd handpicked for me. I'd built Tech Vision from nothing in those 5 years. 2 folding tables in a shared workspace became a corner office overlooking the city. The nights I cried myself to sleep in my studio apartment transformed into board meetings where I commanded respect. My first successful app launch, my first million in revenue, my Series B funding, every milestone achieved without a single congratulations from the people who raised me. The invitation felt heavy in my hands. Why now? Why invite me after 5 years of pretending I died? My phone buzzed. James, my CFO. Madison, you need to see the morning news. Porter Industries just announced they're seeking emergency investors. I stared at the invitation again. My parents' company was failing, and suddenly their dead daughter received an invitation, but they had no idea who I'd become or what I was about to acquire. You should go, James said, setting a tablet on my desk showing Porter Industries' plummeting stock price. Not for them, for you. I almost laughed. James had been there through everything, the sleepless nights coding our first platform, the rejections from investors who didn't take a divorced woman seriously, the panic attacks when anyone raised their voice. He'd seen me build an empire while grieving the family that discarded me like yesterday's newspaper. They don't even know Tech Vision exists, I said, tracing the embossed invitation, or that their dead daughter runs it, which is why the timing is perfect. James pulled up another screen. The acquisition papers are ready. Porter Industries doesn't know we're the buyer yet. They think it's some anonymous tech conglomerate. The deal closes Friday morning, 2 days before the party. 2 days before Rachel's celebration at the Grand Belmont, I would own 67% of my father's company. The irony was almost poetic, but sitting alone in my success felt hollow. Every achievement, every milestone, I'd celebrated them with employees and friends, never family. My apartment walls displayed magazine covers featuring my face, Forbes 30 under 40, TechCrunch's founder of the year. Yet on holidays, I still ordered takeout for one. You built this empire while they pretended you died, Madison, James said quietly. Why go back now? I thought about my grandmother's funeral 2 years ago. How my parents had security escort me out when I tried to attend. How Rachel had looked right through me like I was invisible. The whispers from their society friends. Isn't that the daughter who? Because, I finally answered, they need to see who I became without them. And everyone else needs to know what kind of people they really are. Saturday arrived wrapped in Seattle's morning mist. I stood before my mirror, adjusting the designer dress I'd bought specifically for this moment. Elegant, expensive, undeniably successful. The woman staring back bore no resemblance to the broken girl my parents had discarded. My hands steady now, my spine straight, my eyes clear. Rachel had sent a follow-up email, cold and brief. Cocktails at 7, dinner at 8, don't make a scene. As if I was the one who'd torn our family apart, as if I was the one who should be ashamed. The Grand Belmont Hotel towered against the evening sky, its windows glowing like watching eyes. Valet attendants in crisp uniforms opened doors for Seattle's elite, while photographers captured arrivals. I recognized several faces from my parents' circle, judges, senators, the old money that ruled this city's social scene. At the entrance, a security guard with an iPad blocked my path. Name, please? Madison Parker. He scrolled, frowned, scrolled again. I don't see any Madison Parker on the list. Check again. My voice remained steady, though my pulse quickened. Ma'am, I've checked 3 times. There's no Parker except the family. Are you perhaps under your married name? Married name. The assumption stung more than it should have. No, If you're not on the list, I can't let you in. His tone shifted from professional to suspicious. This is a private event. Behind him, I glimpsed the ballroom's entrance, heard the distant sound of laughter and champagne glasses clinking. My family was in there, celebrating without me. Again. But this time, I held cards they couldn't imagine. There must be a mistake, I said, though I knew there wasn't. This was deliberate. Invite me, then humiliate me at the door. Standing at that entrance, rejection hanging between us, I had 2 choices. Leave now and preserve what remained of my dignity. Let them win again. Let them erase me completely. Or stay and risk the humiliation of begging entry to my own sister's party while 200 strangers watched. The security guard's hand moved to his earpiece. Ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to step aside. If I left now, nothing would change. My parents would continue their charade, Rachel would keep wearing my grandmother's jewelry, and the truth would die with me. But worse than that, I'd spend the rest of my life knowing I'd had the chance to face them and walked away. Again. I thought about my grandmother, the only one who'd believed me about the bruises. She'd slipped me money before she died, whispered, "Don't let them dim your light, sweetheart." She'd wanted me at her funeral. They'd denied even that. Is there a problem here? A familiar voice made me turn. Mrs. Worthington, my mother's oldest friend, stood watching with sharp eyes. She'd known me since I was 5, had attended my wedding, had surely heard whatever lies my parents spread about my disappearance. No problem, the guard said quickly. This woman isn't on the list. Mrs. Worthington studied me, recognition flickering across her face. Madison? Madison Parker? The guard's expression shifted. You know her? Mrs. Worthington hesitated, glancing between us. This was it. She could verify my identity, force them to let me in, or she could pretend not to know me, complete my erasure. Miss Parker, the guard said slowly, mentioned she's not on the list. Only family and invited guests are permitted. The words hung in the air. Only family. Wait, I said, pulling out my phone with calculated calm. I should clarify. I'm here representing Tech Vision Corporation. The guard's entire demeanor changed. Tech Vision? The event sponsor? Yes, Madison Parker, CEO. I showed him my business card, watching his face pale. We're covering tonight's entire event. Strange that your list doesn't reflect that. He frantically scrolled through his iPad, then grabbed his radio. I need a manager at the main entrance. Now. His voice cracked slightly. The sponsor's CEO is here and there's been a mix-up. Mrs. Worthington's eyebrows rose. You're the CEO of Tech Vision? But that company is worth 50 million at last valuation, I said quietly. We've been quite selective about our public presence. Within seconds, the event manager appeared, practically running in her heels. Ms. Parker, I'm so terribly sorry. There must have been a communication error. Please write this way. Communication error, I repeated, letting the words hang. Of course. She led me through a side VIP entrance, past the regular guests still filing through security. Your table is in the premier section, naturally. Can I get you champagne? Anything at all? Just point me toward the family table, I said. Her smile faltered. The family table? The Parkers. I'd like to pay my respects. Of course, they're center stage, but she looked confused. Forgive me, but do you know them personally? The question was a knife between ribs. Even the event staff didn't know Richard and Victoria Parker had another daughter. My erasure was complete, surgical, thorough. We have, I said carefully, a complicated history, but tonight is about moving forward, don't you think? She nodded, still puzzled, and gestured toward the ballroom's heart where my family held court, oblivious to the storm walking through their VIP entrance. The ballroom was exactly what my mother would demand. Crystal chandeliers casting golden light, orchids on every table, a string quartet playing softly. I stayed in the shadows near the VIP section, watching my family perform their perfect family act for Seattle's elite. My father, Richard Parker, stood tall in his tuxedo, his silver hair perfectly styled, laughing at some senator's joke. My mother, Victoria, glided between groups in a gown that cost more than most people's cars, her smile never wavering. And at the center, Rachel, radiant in designer red, accepting air kisses and compliments. Then I saw it. The emerald bracelet on Rachel's wrist, my grandmother's bracelet, the one she'd specifically left to me in her will, the one my parents claimed had been misplaced after the funeral. She wears it well, doesn't she? My mother's voice carried to a group of women nearby. My mother's bracelet looks perfect on our daughter. She's always been the jewel of our family, our only jewel. The women tittered appreciatively. One asked, "Didn't you have another daughter, Margaret, Madeline?" "Madison," Victoria corrected sharply, then smoothed her tone. "That was a long time ago. We don't discuss family disappointments at celebrations." Family disappointments. 5 years reduced to 2 words. Rachel's eyes suddenly met mine across the room. The champagne glass in her hand trembled. Her face went white as fresh paper. She whispered something to her friend and started walking toward me, her expression cycling between panic and disbelief. She grabbed my elbow, her voice a harsh whisper. "What are you doing here?" "Nice to see you too, Rachel. Happy birthday." "You need to leave, now." Her fingers dug into my arm. "Before Mom sees you." I was invited. I pulled out the invitation. "See? Your handwriting." Her face went even paler. "If you've ever felt like your family played favorites or made you feel invisible, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below. Did you choose silence or confrontation? And if you're waiting to see how this confrontation unfolds, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Trust me, what happens next is worth staying for. Now, back to that moment when everything started to unravel. Rachel dragged me toward a corner alcove, her manicured nails digging crescents into my skin. "You can't be here. Do you understand what you're doing?" "Attending my sister's birthday party?" I kept my voice level. "How scandalous." "Stop it." Her eyes darted toward our parents. "This isn't a game. Mom has plans tonight. Important announcements. If she sees you..." "Announcements?" I pulled my arm free. "What kind of announcements?" "Just..." Rachel's voice cracked. "She's been telling everyone about our perfect family, about how proud she is of her daughter. Singular. She's introducing me to the Worthington son. The merger depends on..." "The merger?" Now things made sense. Porter Industries needs the Worthington capital. Rachel's silence confirmed everything. Our parents were shopping their golden daughter to save their failing company, and my presence threatened their carefully orchestrated performance. Please, Rachel whispered. I know you hate us. You have every right. But if you ever cared about me at all, leave now. Cared about you? The words tasted bitter. Where was this concern when security dragged me from grandmother's funeral? When you wore her bracelet knowing she left it to me? Rachel touched the emerald bracelet unconsciously. Mom said you forfeited everything when you abandoned the family. I didn't abandon anyone. I escaped. From what? A beautiful home? Parents who gave you everything? From a husband who broke my ribs. Twice. I watched her flinch. But maintaining the Parker reputation mattered more than their daughter's safety, didn't it? Madison, Rachel? Our mother's voice cut through the air like a blade. Who are you talking to in the corner like some teenager? We both turned. Victoria Parker stood 10 feet away, her perfect smile frozen as her eyes found mine. My mother's face went through a symphony of emotions. Shock, rage, then that practiced composure she'd perfected over decades. She glided over, her voice dropping to a whisper that could cut glass. What are you doing here? Hello, Mother. I kept my tone pleasant. You look well. Don't. She positioned herself to block me from the party's view. You need to leave, now. I was invited. I held up the invitation. See? Official stationery and everything. Victoria's eyes snapped to Rachel, who seemed to shrink. You didn't. I didn't mean, Rachel started. Bathroom. Now. Mother grabbed my wrist with surprising force, her smile never wavering for the guests who might be watching. To anyone observing, we looked like family members having a warm reunion. She practically dragged me onto the balcony overlooking the city lights. The moment the door closed, her mask dropped. How dare you show your face here? I'm your daughter. I have no daughter named Madison. Each word was ice. That person made her choice 5 years ago. My choice? To leave a man who hurt me? To destroy this family's reputation. She straightened her gown. Do you know what we endured? The whispers, the canceled invitations? You humiliated us. He broke my ribs. Marriage requires sacrifice. Not that kind. She studied me with cold calculation. You look different. Successful even. Did you remarry? Is that why you're here? To show off some new husband? No husband. Just me. Then why? Her eyes narrowed. How did you even afford that dress? That watch? Before I could answer, she raised her hand. Actually, I don't care. Security! A guard appeared immediately. This woman is trespassing. Please escort her out. Mother, I don't have a daughter here. Remove her. Quietly. The security guard stepped forward, then hesitated. Ma'am, this is Ms. Parker. She's on our VIP list. My mother's composure cracked. That's impossible. She's the CEO of Tech Vision, Mrs. Parker, the event sponsor. His confusion was evident. Should I not have let her in? The blood drained from Victoria's face. The sponsor? Yes, ma'am. Tech Vision Corporation is covering tonight's entire event, Ms. Parker's company. I watched my mother process this information, her social calculator working overtime. She couldn't throw out the sponsor without causing a scene. The gossip would be catastrophic. But letting me stay meant acknowledging my existence. There's been a misunderstanding, she said finally, her voice strained. This woman may represent the sponsor, but she's not welcome at family tables. Of course, I said smoothly. I'll keep to the VIP section. I'm here in a professional capacity, after all. The guard looked between us, clearly sensing undercurrents he didn't understand, then excused himself. Victoria stepped close, her whisper venomous. I don't know what game you're playing, but it won't work. You think money changes anything? You're still the daughter who chose divorce over duty. And you're still the mother who chose reputation over her daughter's safety. Don't you dare. Mrs. Parker? The event manager appeared, looking flustered. The chairman of the charity auction wants to thank the sponsor personally. Should I bring him to Ms. Parker? My mother's jaw clenched. That won't be necessary. Actually, I said, I'd be happy to meet him. Please, lead the way. As I walked past my mother, I added quietly, Don't worry, I'll be professional. That's more courtesy than you ever showed me. Her hand shot out, gripping my wrist. This changes nothing between us. You're right, I said. It doesn't. I found James near the bar, looking perfectly at ease in his tuxedo despite being surrounded by Seattle's old money. He raised his whiskey slightly when he saw me, our prearranged signal that everything was proceeding as planned. The acquisition closed this morning at 9, he said quietly when I reached him. You now own 67% of Porter Industries. My father doesn't know yet? The board meeting is Monday. They'll inform him then. James glanced toward where Richard Parker held court with potential investors. He's still trying to secure emergency funding. Poor man has no idea his company already has a new owner. I watched my father work the room, his confident smile hiding the desperation of a drowning man. He was promising things he couldn't deliver, making deals with money he no longer controlled. Ms. Parker? A distinguished older gentleman approached. James Smith here tells me you're the brilliant mind behind Tech Vision. My father materialized beside us, drawn by the mention of Tech Vision like a moth to flame. Tech Vision? I've been hoping to connect with someone from your organization. Richard Parker, Porter Industries. He extended his hand to James, completely ignoring me. Actually, James said smoothly, Ms. Parker here is our CEO. My father's hand froze mid-reach. His eyes found mine for the first time in 5 years. The recognition was instant, followed by confusion, then something close to fear. Madison? His voice was barely a whisper. Mr. Parker, I replied formally. I heard Porter Industries is seeking investors. He stared at me, trying to reconcile the discarded daughter with the CEO everyone was discussing. You run Tech Vision? Founded it, built it, and as of this morning, we've made some interesting acquisitions. I let that hang in the air. But tonight's about Rachel. We can discuss business Monday. My father stood frozen, his executive smile cracking at the edges. That's not possible. Tech Vision is worth $50 million at last valuation, the older gentleman supplied helpfully. One of the fastest growing tech companies in the Pacific Northwest. Your daughter's quite accomplished, Richard. She's not. My father caught himself, aware of the listening ears. We haven't been in contact. No, I agreed calmly. Not for 5 years. The gentleman looked between us, sensing the tension. Well, family businesses can be complicated. Excuse me. He retreated diplomatically. Richard grabbed my elbow once he left. What are you playing at? Playing? I removed his hand. I'm working. This is a professional appearance. Don't lie to me. You show up here claiming to run some company. Claiming? James interjected. I assure you, Mr. Parker, Madison built Tech Vision from nothing. While you were pretending she didn't exist, she was creating jobs, innovation, value. My father's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, and his face went gray. An email from the board, no doubt. The subject line would be innocuous, but the content would change everything. Excuse me, he muttered, walking away while opening the email. James watched him go. He's reading it now, the acquisition notice. Let him process it privately. He deserves that much dignity. More than they gave you. That's exactly why I'm different from them. Across the room, I saw Rachel pulling our mother aside, gesturing frantically in my direction. Victoria's face was a mask of forced calm, but her knuckles were white around her champagne glass. The MC began tapping the microphone. Ladies and gentlemen, if you could take your seats, we'll begin the evening's program. The real show was about to begin. Rachel intercepted me as I headed toward the VIP section. Madison, We need to talk. Now you want to talk? After 5 years? I know about the bracelet. She touched grandmother's emerald again. I know she left it to you. Mom told me it was lost, but last month I found the will. The real one. I studied my sister's face. Was this genuine guilt or strategic manipulation? With my family, I'd learned never to trust sudden confessions. Why are you telling me this now? Because something's wrong. Mom's been planning tonight for months. She keeps saying it's about my birthday, but… Rachel glanced around nervously. She invited every major family in Seattle, the Worthingtons, the Smiths, the Richardsons, and she made me memorize this speech about family loyalty and tradition. She's auctioning you off, I said bluntly. Porter Industries needs capital. You're the currency. Rachel's face crumpled slightly. I know, but what choice do I have? I'm not like you. I can't just leave. Can't or won't? You don't understand. After you left, they watched me constantly. Every friend vetted, every decision scrutinized. I'm 30 years old and still asking permission to leave the house. That's not love, Rachel. It's control. I know that. Her whisper was fierce. Why do you think I invited you? I thought maybe if you were here, if people saw you successful and happy, Mom might realize. Ladies and gentlemen, the MC's voice boomed. Please welcome your host for this evening, Mrs. Victoria Parker. My mother glided onto the stage, every inch the society matron. Thank you all for joining us to celebrate our precious Rachel. Family is everything to the Parkers. Loyalty, tradition, standing by each other through any storm. Her eyes found mine across the room. Some people abandon their families. We Parkers never do. My mother continued from the stage, her voice carrying perfectly through the ballroom's acoustics. Tonight isn't just about celebrating Rachel's birthday, it's about celebrating what she represents, the future of the Parker legacy. A daughter who understands that family comes first, always. The crowd murmured appreciatively. Several people glanced around and I realized they were looking for me. The other daughter, the cautionary tale. In our family, Victoria continued, we have a saying, Parkers persevere. Through market crashes, through challenges, through everything. We stand together. We don't run when things get difficult. Each word was a carefully aimed arrow. The audience didn't know she was speaking to me, but I felt every strike. And now, she smiled brilliantly, before we announce tonight's special surprise, I want to thank our generous sponsor, Tech Vision Corporation, for making this evening possible. The spotlight swung around the room, searching. The event manager gestured frantically at me to stand. Ah, yes. My mother's voice tightened almost imperceptibly. Their representative is here somewhere. Stand up, please, so we can thank you properly. I rose slowly. The spotlight found me, and gasps rippled through the crowd. Those who knew our family history recognized me immediately. Whispers spread like wildfire. Is that Madison? The divorced daughter? I thought she was… Thank you, my mother said curtly, for your professional support. Please, sit. But the MC was already approaching with his microphone, following protocol. Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a round of applause for our incredible sponsor. Would you like to say a few words? My mother's face was marble. She couldn't refuse without seeming ungracious. The trap she'd set for me had caught her instead. I took the microphone. Thank you. I'm honored to be here tonight. The room held its breath. Family loyalty, my mother interjected before I could continue, taking back control of the narrative. It's what distinguishes the worthy from the weak. The Parkers have built our reputation on unshakable family bonds. 3 generations of staying together, no matter what. She was looking directly at me now, her smile sharp as glass. We've never had a divorce in our family line. Never had anyone abandon their vows, their responsibilities, their sacred commitments. That's what makes us who we are. The crowd murmured approval. Mrs. Worthington nodded sagely. Several of the older society matrons were looking at me with barely concealed disgust. Unlike some people, Victoria continued, who run at the first sign of difficulty, who choose the easy path of giving up. We Parkers honor our commitments. Marriage is sacred. Family is forever. Those who break these bonds? She paused dramatically. They're not family at all. I still held the microphone, the weight of 200 stares pressed down on me. Some sympathetic, most judgmental, all waiting to see if I'd defend myself or slink away in shame. You're absolutely right, Mother, I said into the sudden silence. My voice was steady, professional. Families should protect each other, stand by each other, never let one of their own suffer alone. Her smile flickered uncertainly. That's why, I continued, when someone is being hurt, really hurt, family should be their safe harbor, their defenders, not their judge and jury. How dare, she started. But you're right about one thing. I kept my tone conversational, as if we were discussing the weather. The person who abandoned this family 5 years ago, she doesn't exist anymore. That broken, frightened girl who begged for your help, she's gone. My mother's face had gone pale. Security. In her place stands someone entirely new, someone you're about to meet properly. Some of you may remember me, I continued, addressing the room while my mother stood frozen on stage. Madison Parker, the daughter who disappeared 5 years ago, the family disappointment, the quitter who couldn't make her marriage work. Uncomfortable shifting filled the room. Richard had returned, standing near the back, his face ashen. He was definitely reading emails on his phone now, probably from every board member. But Mother's right. That person is gone. She died the day her parents chose their reputation over her safety. When bruises were called marital disputes and broken ribs were private matters. Gasps echoed through the ballroom. Mrs. Worthington's hand flew to her mouth. "You're lying," my mother hissed into her own microphone. "Ladies and gentlemen, this woman is disturbed. Medical records from Seattle General would disagree," I said calmly. 3 documented visits. Police reports filed and mysteriously withdrawn after family pressure, all verifiable. "Stop this immediately!" Victoria's composure was cracking. "This is my daughter's birthday celebration." "Your daughter?" I let that hang. "I thought you only had one daughter. You've been very clear about that tonight. To everyone. While I stood right here." Rachel had shrunk into her chair, tears streaming down her face. Several guests were recording on their phones now. This would be viral within hours. "Security!" my mother called again, but the guards hesitated. Removing the sponsor by force would be a PR nightmare. "Don't worry," I said. "I'm almost done. But first, shouldn't we thank the sponsor properly? After all, Tech Vision paid for every glass of champagne you're drinking, every orchid on your tables, every note the quartet has played." The MC, sensing drama that would be talked about for years, approached with the evening's program. "Actually, we were about to announce—" "Please," I said. "Go ahead. Announce it." My mother, desperate to regain control, pushed forward. "Before any announcements, I want to address these vicious lies. This person standing here is exactly why we had to protect our family's reputation. Mental instability, false accusations, destroying a good man's name." "A good man?" I laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Should I call Christopher? I'm sure his third wife would love to hear how good he is. Or maybe the restraining order she filed last month would speak for itself." The room erupted in whispers. Several people were openly filming now. "Enough!" Victoria pointed at me. "You are nothing to this family. Nothing. You made your choice." "You're right. I did make a choice. I chose to survive. To build something from nothing. To become someone you never thought I could be." "Delusional?" "Ladies and gentlemen," the MC interrupted, clearly following his script despite the chaos. "It's time to formally thank our incredible sponsor for this evening. Please, a round of applause for Tech Vision Corporation and their CEO." The massive LED screens around the ballroom suddenly came alive. The Tech Vision logo appeared in stunning clarity, followed by my professional headshot and title. Madison Parker, the MC read, confused but professional, founder and CEO of Tech Vision Corporation, recently featured in Forbes 30 Under 40 and one of Seattle's most successful entrepreneurs. The applause was scattered, uncertain. My father dropped his phone. But that's not all, the MC continued, reading from his cards. Tech Vision has prepared a special announcement for tonight. My mother lunged for his microphone. No! The screens changed again. This time they showed official documents, acquisition papers, Porter Industries logo being absorbed by Tech Visions. As of today, I said into the stunned silence, Tech Vision Corporation is the majority owner of Porter Industries. My mother's knees buckled. This is the moment everything changed. If you've ever dreamed of proving wrong those who doubted you, hit that like button, comment karma if you believe people eventually get what they deserve. And please subscribe and ring that bell, because what happens next will show you that success truly is the best response. Now, let's see how my family handled learning their disowned daughter had become their boss. The screens continued their presentation, each slide another nail in my parents' social coffin. Financial data showing Porter Industries' 5-year decline. The emergency board meeting. The unanimous vote to accept Tech Vision's acquisition offer. This can't be legal, my father finally spoke, his voice cracking. The board can't sell without my approval. Actually, James stood up, holding a folder. According to the company bylaws you signed, the board can act independently if the company faces insolvency, which it does. Porter Industries has been hemorrhaging money for 2 years. You planned this, my mother whispered into her microphone, forgetting it was still on. You've been planning this. No, I said simply. I built my company to succeed. Yours just happened to be for sale. Though I admit, the timing is poetic. The screens now showed my achievements. TechCrunch Startup of the Year, Seattle Business Journal's fastest growing company, my team of 200 employees at our modern offices. 5 years ago, I addressed the room. This family erased me because I wouldn't stay in an abusive marriage. They cared more about their reputation than their daughter's safety. Tonight, they introduced me as a stranger while wearing my grandmother's jewelry and denying I existed. I looked directly at my parents. But you were right about one thing. That scared, broken girl doesn't exist anymore. In her place stands someone you never expected, your boss. I'll fight this, Richard sputtered. My lawyers will tell you the sale is ironclad. As of 9 this morning, I own 67% of your company. Your office, your contracts, your corporate accounts, they all report to Tech Vision now, to me. Rachel stood up suddenly. Madison, please. Sit down, Rachel, our mother snapped. Don't you dare. No, Rachel said, louder. No more. Madison, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. The room watched in fascination as our family drama played out like premium theater. Every phone was recording, every whisper analyzing, every eye glued to the stage where my mother stood trembling with rage. You ungrateful, Victoria started. Careful, I warned. Your next words will be trending within the hour. Choose them wisely. The screens behind me now displayed a final slide. Tech Vision Corporation, building tomorrow today. CEO Madison Parker welcomes Porter Industries to our family of companies. Family, my mother spat. You dare use that word? Why not? It means something different to me now. My company is built on loyalty, trust, and protecting each other. Everything you taught me family shouldn't be. Mrs. Worthington stood up slowly, her voice cutting through the chaos. Victoria, is it true? About the bruises? The hospital visits? My mother's mouth opened and closed like a landed fish. It's true, Rachel said suddenly, her voice stronger. I saw them, we all saw them, and we did nothing. She pulled off the emerald bracelet. This isn't even mine. Grandmother left it to Madison. We lied about that too. Rachel, Richard barked. Stop talking immediately. No, Rachel walked toward me, holding out the bracelet. I'm 30 years old, and I'm done being your perfect puppet. Madison was brave enough to leave. I should have defended her. The room erupted. Society matrons whispered behind their hands. Business partners exchanged worried glances. The Worthington merger was definitely dead now. This is what you wanted? My mother's voice was ice. To humiliate us? Destroy us? I wanted a family who loved me more than their reputation, I said quietly. When I couldn't have that, I built something better. Your destruction? You did that yourselves. Get out, she whispered. Get out of my event. Your event? I smiled. Check the contracts. This is Tech Vision's event now. As the sponsor and now owner of Porter Industries, I continued, my voice carrying clearly, I have a few announcements. First, effective Monday morning, there will be a full restructuring of Porter Industries leadership. My father's phone was ringing nonstop now. Board members, investors, partners, all seeing the news spreading across social media in real time. Second, all existing contracts will be reviewed for ethical compliance. That includes the proposed Worthington merger, which appears to involve some interesting conflicts of interest. Mr. Worthington stood up abruptly, pulling his wife toward the exit. Others began to follow. Third, I looked directly at my father. Richard Parker, you have two options. Resign with a modest severance package, or remain as regional operations manager, reporting directly to my appointed CEO. You can't, he started. The board already approved it. Check your email. The one marked urgent that you've been ignoring for the last 20 minutes. His hands shook as he looked at his phone. My mother had gone completely white, swaying on her feet. This is revenge, she said weakly. No. Revenge would be releasing the photos from my hospital visits, the recordings of Dad pressuring the police to drop charges, the emails where you called me damaged goods and said I was better off dead than divorced. Gasps rippled through the remaining crowd. This isn't revenge, I continued. This is consequence. For 5 years, you've lived without consequences. That ends tonight. Madison, Rachel stepped forward, still holding the bracelet. What about me? I know I don't deserve. You were 25 and dependent on them, I said. I don't blame you, Rachel, but I don't trust you either. That's something you'll have to earn. She nodded, tears flowing freely. I understand. Ladies and gentlemen, I addressed the room, enjoy the rest of your evening. Everything's paid for. I stepped down from the stage, the click of my heels echoing in the stunned silence. The crowd parted like the Red Sea, some reaching for my hand in congratulations, others shrinking away as if failure was contagious. 5 years ago, I said, turning back one last time, you taught me that family was conditional, that love had a price, that safety mattered less than reputation. I looked at my parents, both now seated, looking far older than their years. Thank you for those lessons. They made me build something unconditional, something real. Mrs. Worthington started clapping. Alone at first, then joined by another, then another. Not everyone, many of my parents' allies stood frozen, but enough. Enough to show that truth still meant something. My mother found her voice one last time. You've destroyed everything we built. No, I said simply. I've revealed what you built. A house of cards, a reputation based on lies, a family that valued appearance over authenticity. Get out, she whispered. Gladly, but remember, Monday morning, I'm your boss, both of you. Unless you prefer unemployment? My father's jaw clenched. At 62, with his reputation in tatters, finding another executive position would be impossible. They needed this job. They needed me. Will never work for you, he said. Then clean out your offices by Monday. James here will handle the transition. I nodded to my CFO. He's very thorough. Rachel approached one more time. Madison, the bracelet. Keep it, I said. Grandmother would want one of us to wear it with pride. Maybe someday, that can be you. As I walked toward the exit, the event manager rushed over. Ms. Parker, should we end the party? No. Let them stay. Let them talk. Let them remember this night. I paused. The night the Parkers learned that karma has a name. Outside the ballroom, James caught up with me in the marble corridor. That was intense. It was necessary. I pulled out my phone, already seeing the notifications exploding. Send the transition team in Monday at 7 a.m. I want every department audited by noon. And your parents? Give them the weekend to decide. Resignation with basic severance or stay and report to the new CEO. I paused. Who won't be me? I have a company to run. Promote Sandra Martinez from our acquisitions team. She'll handle them fairly but firmly. You're not going to oversee them personally? They're not worth my time anymore. The words felt like freedom. I have 200 employees who respect me, partners who value me, and a company that's changing the world. Why would I waste energy on people who threw me away? Back in the ballroom, I could hear chaos erupting. Shouts, my father's voice, my mother's shrill protests. Security was probably involved now. Should we? James started. No. Let them implode. It's been coming for years. My phone buzzed. A text from Rachel. I know you'll never forgive me, but I want you to know I'm leaving them too. Tonight. I'm 30 years old, and I've never lived my own life. You gave me the courage to try. I didn't respond. Some bridges once burned couldn't be rebuilt with words. The media will be all over this by morning, James warned. Good. Let everyone see what happens when you choose reputation over your own child. I straightened my dress. Schedule a press release for Monday. Keep it simple. Tech Vision acquires Porter Industries, plans for ethical restructuring, commitment to transparency. And if reporters ask about tonight? No comment on family matters. The business speaks for itself. Madison Parker, ice-cold CEO, James said with admiration. No, I corrected. Madison Parker, survivor. In the parking garage, I found Rachel waiting by my Tesla, mascara streaking her cheeks. Please, just 5 minutes. Rachel. I knew about Christopher, about what he did. I saw the bruises that Thanksgiving when you tried to hide them with makeup. The words tumbled out. Mom told me to ignore it, said all marriages had struggles. I was 25 and scared, and I chose being the golden child over being your sister. I studied her face. The perfect makeup was ruined, the designer dress wrinkled. She looked more real than I'd seen her in years. I can't forgive you, I said honestly. Not yet, maybe not ever. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm asking for a chance to earn it. She pulled off her designer heels, standing barefoot on the cold concrete. I'm leaving them, tonight. I have $8,000 saved that they don't know about. It's not much, but it's a start. You did it with less. I did it with nothing, I corrected, and no safety net. I know. She wrapped her arms around herself. I'm not you, Madison. I'm not brave like you, but I want to try, to be someone besides their doll. Then do it, but not for me. Do it for yourself. I will. She hesitated. Can I ask one thing? Why didn't you expose everything, the photos, the recordings you mentioned? Because I'm not them, I said simply. I don't need to destroy people to win. Taking their company was justice. Ruining their lives would be cruelty. You're better than all of us. No, I just learned that success is the best revenge, and boundaries are the best protection. She nodded, understanding. Goodbye, Madison. Goodbye, Rachel, and good luck. I drove through Seattle's glittering downtown, the city lights blurring past my windows. 5 years ago, I'd driven these same streets in a borrowed car, everything I owned in 2 suitcases, my ribs still aching from Christopher's last disagreement. My phone rang through the car's Bluetooth. James. You need to see this, he said. Check Twitter. At a red light, I looked. The video was already viral. Disowned daughter becomes parent's boss, had 30,000 views in an hour. The comments ranged from supportive to shocked to vindictive. The board's thrilled, James continued. Porter Industries stock is up 8% in after-hours trading. Investors love the narrative of new leadership. It's not a narrative, it's the truth. I know. That's why it's working. He paused. How do you feel? I thought about it. Empty, full, everything at once. That's normal. You just faced down your demons in front of Seattle's elite. They're not demons, James. They're just people. Flawed, selfish people who happen to be my parents. Most people couldn't have done what you did tonight. Most people don't have to. I pulled into my building's garage. I didn't buy their company for revenge. I bought it because I could. Because it was a smart business decision. The fact that it was theirs? Just poetry. Very expensive poetry. Worth every penny. I parked in my reserved spot. CEO parking. Earned, not inherited. James, thank you. For being there. For having the papers ready. For everything. That's what family does, he said, then caught himself. Sorry, I didn't mean… No, I interrupted. You're right, that's exactly what family does. Real family. Chosen family. See you Monday, boss? See you Monday. We have a company to integrate. 2 companies now. Still just one. Tech Vision. Porter Industries doesn't exist anymore. Just like the daughter they disowned. By Sunday morning, the video had 2 million views. My phone hadn't stopped buzzing. Reporters, investors, distant relatives suddenly remembering I existed. I turned it off and sat in my apartment's floor-to-ceiling windows, watching Seattle wake up. The headlines were everything. Disowned daughter's ultimate revenge. Seattle Times. From abandon to acquisition. TechCrunch. The Parker family implosion. Business Insider. My favorite was from Forbes. Madison Parker shows why betting against women in tech is a losing game. My lawyer called. Your parents' attorney reached out. They want to negotiate. There's nothing to negotiate. They take the offer or they don't. They're threatening to sue, claiming coercion, emotional distress. With what money? Their accounts are frozen pending the audit. Besides, everything was done legally. The board voted. The papers are signed. They're desperate, Madison. They were desperate before. Now they're just faced with consequences. After I hung up, I opened my laptop. Emails flooded in. Employees congratulating me, competitors wanting to talk, Rachel saying she'd found a studio apartment. One email stood out, from Richard Parker. The subject line, please. I almost deleted it unread. Almost. Madison, I know I have no right to ask for anything, but your mother is in the hospital. Panic attack, they're saying. Possibly cardiac event. I'm not asking for forgiveness or mercy. I'm asking you to remember that despite everything, she gave you life. Please don't let her last memory be of last night. Richard. I stared at the screen. The man who turned his back while I packed. Who chose his reputation over my safety. Who pretended I died rather than admit his failure as a father. Now he wanted compassion? The irony was perfect, and perfectly painful. I didn't go to the hospital, but I did call. She's stable, Richard said when he answered, his voice hollow. Sedated. The doctors say it's stress-induced cardiomyopathy. Broken heart syndrome, I said. Ironic. Madison, I'm calling as CEO of Tech Vision to inform you that your wife's medical expenses will be covered under Porter Industries' existing insurance plan, which will maintain through the transition. That's all. That's not why I emailed. Yes, it is. You're worried about medical bills, about losing the house, about becoming the people you used to look down on. I kept my voice professional. The offer stands. Regional manager position, standard salary, full benefits, take it or leave it. You want me to work for you? I want you to work for Sandra Martinez, our new Porter Industries CEO. I have better things to do than manage you. Silence. Then, we gave you everything. You gave me things: cars, clothes, a wedding to a man who hurt me. You never gave me what I needed: parents who loved me more than their image. We did love you. No, you loved the idea of me, the perfect daughter who'd marry well and produce grandchildren and maintain your status. When I became inconvenient, you erased me. That's not. Monday morning, 7 a.m., yes or no, that's all I need to know. Your mother will never agree to this. Then she can file for unemployment. I hear it takes 8 to 12 weeks to process. More silence. Finally, I'll be there Monday. Good, don't be late. Sandra values punctuality. Madison, wait. I hung up. There was nothing left to say. They'd made their choice 5 years ago. Now they had to live with it. Monday arrived gray and drizzling, perfect Seattle weather for a corporate takeover. I arrived at TechVision's offices at 6 a.m., an hour before the transition team would enter Porter Industries. Sandra Martinez was already there, reviewing files. You sure you want me handling this? Your parents aren't going to make it easy. That's why I chose you. You're brilliant, fair, and take no bullshit. I handed her the transition plans. Treat them like any other employees, no special consideration, positive or negative. And if they cause problems, document everything. 3 strikes, they're out, same as anyone. At 7:15, my phone rang. Sandra. Your father's here, sitting in what used to be his office. He looks broken. He'll adjust. Your mother? Not here yet. She never came. At noon, Victoria Parker walked into TechVision's lobby instead, wearing sunglasses and her best Chanel suit, demanding to see me. Security called up. There's a Mrs. Parker here. No appointment. Should we? Conference room 3, 5 minutes, no more. She looked older, smaller somehow. The perfect posture was gone, replaced by something fragile. You win, she said without preamble. This wasn't a competition. Wasn't it? She removed her sunglasses, revealing red-rimmed eyes. You took everything. I took a failing company. You lost everything else on your own. I'm not here to work for you. I know. I'm here to tell you that you're not my daughter. Not anymore. Not ever again. I haven't been your daughter for 5 years. You're just making it official now? She stood to leave, then turned back. Your father's a fool for taking your offer. He's practical, something you never were. I was protecting our family. You were protecting yourself. There's a difference. She left without another word. I never saw her again. 3 weeks later, Rachel's letter arrived at my office. Handwritten on simple stationery, not the monogrammed cards our mother had insisted on. Madison, I'm writing because I need you to know something even if you never respond. I'm in therapy now, unpacking 30 years of being molded into their perfect doll. My therapist says I was a victim too, but that doesn't excuse my choices. I watched you suffer. I stayed silent when they rewrote history. I wore grandmother's bracelet knowing it was yours. I was a coward, and I'm sorry. I'm working now, entry-level marketing at a nonprofit. The pay is nothing compared to my allowance, but I earned it myself. I'm learning who Rachel Parker is when she's not performing for approval. Dad told me he's working for your company now. He says you treat him fairly, which is more than he deserves. Mom moved to her sister's in California. She tells everyone you're dead. The irony isn't lost on me. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't expect anything. I just wanted you to know that you didn't just free yourself that night. You freed me too. Your sister, if I can still call myself that, Rachel. I read it twice, then filed it away. Maybe someday I'd respond. Maybe someday we could build something new from the ashes of our family. But not yet. Trust once shattered, took time to rebuild. James knocked on my door. The Times wants a follow-up interview. 1 month later, how does it feel? Tell them no comment on family matters, but they can quote this. TechVision's acquisition of Porter Industries is proceeding smoothly. We're committed to ethical business practices and supporting our employees through the transition. Nothing about your parents? What parents? I'm an orphan who built an empire. That's the only story that matters now. 6 months in, Porter Industries was unrecognizable. Sandra had restructured everything. New policies, new leadership, new culture. The company that had hemorrhaged money for years posted its first profitable quarter under TechVision's umbrella. Richard Parker had become exactly what I'd offered. A regional manager, nothing more, nothing less. Sandra reported he was competent, quiet, and never mentioned our relationship. He ate lunch alone, left at exactly 5 p.m., and treated everyone with the careful politeness of a man walking on ice. He's actually good at his job, Sandra told me during our monthly review. When he's not playing CEO, he knows operations. Then he keeps the position. He asked about you yesterday, first time in 6 months. And? I told him you don't discuss personal matters at work. He just nodded and went back to his spreadsheets. That was our relationship now, spreadsheets and silence. Professional boundaries, firmly held. He was Mr. Parker, regional manager. I was Ms. Parker, CEO of the parent company. Nothing more. The media had moved on to other scandals, other family dramas. Occasionally, someone would recognize me and whisper, but Seattle's elite had short memories when money was involved. TechVision's success spoke louder than old gossip. My apartment had become a home. Plants thrived in the windows. Art covered the walls. Pieces I'd chosen, not inherited. Friends came for dinner. Real friends. Chosen family. We laughed without performing, talked without calculating, existed without conditions. You look happy, James said one evening over takeout in my office. Really happy, not just successful. Happy. I am, I realized with surprise. For the first time in my life, I'm exactly where I want to be. No regrets about that night? None. They gave me the greatest gift. Freedom. I just had to be brave enough to take it. My therapist's office had become a sanctuary, a place where Madison Parker, the CEO, could just be Madison. Dr. Smith, no relation to James, had been recommended by a founder friend who'd also survived family trauma. How do you feel about your father working for your company? She asked during our year anniversary session, 1 year since the birthday party. I nothing him, I said. He exists in spreadsheets and quarterly reports, that's all. And your mother? Gone. Moved to California, I heard. Posts on Facebook about her one daughter, Rachel, who disappointed her by becoming independent. That doesn't hurt? It hurt 5 years ago when they chose reputation over my safety. Now? It's just confirmation of what I always knew. Their love was conditional. And Rachel? She sends letters. I don't respond, but I read them. She's in therapy too. Working at a nonprofit. Dating someone they'd hate. A teacher with no trust fund. I almost smiled. She's becoming real. Will you ever respond? Maybe. When I'm ready. When it's for me, not for her. Dr. Smith nodded. You've built impressive boundaries. I had good teachers. They showed me exactly what not to do. Do you think you'll ever forgive them? I thought about it. Forgiveness implies they deserve absolution. They don't. But I've released the anger. It was too heavy to carry while building my life. That's its own kind of forgiveness, forgiving yourself for surviving. That night, I stood in my apartment, looking at Seattle's skyline. Somewhere out there, my father was probably reviewing reports for tomorrow. My mother was telling strangers she had one daughter. Rachel was maybe writing another letter. And I was here, whole, successful, free. The girl they'd thrown away had become everything they'd never believed possible. Boundaries aren't walls, I told the audience at the Women in Tech Summit. They're bridges, bridges that only lower for those who've earned passage. 200 female founders listened intently. My story had become Silicon Valley legend, but I rarely spoke about it publicly. Today felt different, necessary. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. When they choose reputation over your safety, status over your suffering, their comfort over your truth, believe that's who they are. I clicked to my next slide, A photo of me at 25, bruised but smiling. This was me the day I left everything. No money, no family, no plan. Just the absolute certainty that staying would kill me. Gasps rippled through the crowd. 5 years later, I owned the company that had been my father's pride. Not for revenge, for justice. There's a difference. Next slide. Tech Vision's logo. Revenge wants to hurt. Justice wants to heal. Revenge destroys. Justice builds. But what about forgiveness? Someone called out. Forgiveness isn't required for healing. You can move forward without absolving those who hurt you. You can succeed without their apology. You can thrive without their recognition. I paused. Forgiveness, if it comes, is for you, not them. Do you regret exposing them publicly? I regret that it was necessary. I regret having parents who valued their image over my safety. But regret the revelation? Never. Truth isn't cruel. Silence is. After the talk, a young woman approached, sleeve pulled up to show fading bruises. My family says I'm overreacting, that marriage is about compromise. Compromise is about choosing restaurants, not accepting violence. Your safety is non-negotiable. But family that doesn't protect you isn't family, it's just genetics. She nodded, tears falling. Another soul preparing to save herself. That's why I told my story, not for sympathy, but for her. 18 months after the birthday party, I sat across from Rachel in a quiet coffee shop. She'd requested the meeting through James, professionally, respectfully. I'd finally said yes. She looked different. The designer clothes replaced with simple jeans and a sweater. The perfect makeup gone, revealing actual skin, actual life. She looked like herself for the first time. "Thank you for seeing me," she started. "You have 15 minutes. "I only need 5. She pulled out an envelope. "I've been saving. This is every penny of the allowance money I took after you left. $30,000. I want to donate it to your domestic violence foundation." I hadn't publicized the foundation, but somehow she knew. "That's not necessary." "It is, for me." She pushed the envelope across. "I profited from your pain. I wore your jewelry, took your place, enjoyed the privilege of being the only daughter. This doesn't fix it, but it's a start." "Rachel, I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm not asking for anything. I just wanted you to know that I see it now, all of it, the gaslighting, the control, the way they broke you down until leaving seemed like your failure instead of your salvation. And now? Now I'm free too. Broke, struggling, but free. I teach art to kids at the community center. I live in a studio that's smaller than my old closet. I've never been happier." "Good for you." I mean it, Madison. You saved both of us. You just saved yourself first." We sat in silence, two sisters separated by more than time. "Maybe," I said finally, "we could do this again. Coffee. Once a month. No promises, no expectations. Just coffee." Her smile was small but real. "I'd like that." Baby steps, but honest ones. 5 years. That's how long it took to go from disowned daughter to CEO. 5 years to build an empire from nothing but determination and code. 5 years to prove that family isn't about blood. It's about choice. I stood in my office looking at the wall of achievements, magazine covers, awards, photos with my team. Not a single family photo. That used to hurt. Now it felt honest. My parents gave me the greatest gift when they threw me away, permission to become myself. They meant to punish me, but they freed me. They meant to diminish me, but they forced me to grow. They meant to erase me, but they made me impossible to ignore. Sometimes, I tell people who ask, the greatest gift a toxic family can give you is letting you go. Richard Parker still works for Porter Industries, now fully integrated into Tech Vision. He's employee number 847, nothing more. Victoria lives in California, telling anyone who'll listen that she has no daughters now. Rachel disappointed her too by choosing freedom. Rachel and I have coffee monthly. We're not sisters yet, maybe never will be, but we're two women who survived the same storm, building something careful and real from shared wreckage. My chosen family grows stronger every day. James, my team, friends who celebrate my victories and support my struggles. They show up. They stay. They love without conditions. That's what family really means. If you're reading this still trapped in someone else's definition of family, know this. Leaving isn't failure, it's survival. Boundaries aren't cruel, they're necessary. And success, real success, isn't about proving them wrong. It's about proving yourself right. You're worth safety. You're worth respect. You're worth unconditional love. And if they can't give you that, build it yourself. You're stronger than you know. If this story resonated with you, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. Comment boundaries. If you've had to choose between family and freedom, what did you choose? Forgiveness or moving forward? Subscribe for more stories about resilience, success, and the courage to choose yourself. Remember, family isn't about blood, it's about who shows up when life falls apart. Your chosen family is still family.